Okay. Let me change. Aloha, everyone. Welcome. It's nice to see those of us that are here, and welcome to the November meeting. And I'm going to ask Lindsay will be reading the vision and the mission.
So our vision is creating a sustainable early learning system that partners with families to ensure that every child is healthy, valued, and successful in school and life. And our mission is to support children's academic and lifelong well-being by directing and supporting the EOEL for an effective, coordinated, high-quality early learning system from prenatal to kindergarten entry.
Hey, mahalo. So I have a few announcements. We had a board retreat on October 10th, and I sent out a short survey, and the results that I got back were very positive. So I put those in the board packet. I didn't unmute. That was good, right? Okay, so we're getting the technology down. So you can see that, and it was time well spent for the people that responded, and we'll see what happens next year. I don't know. I think there's such a value in getting together in person. And it could be just as a board meeting, or it could be a more extended time as we had in October. But we'll see when we get there. And I did create a folder in the shared drive for the board members, and it has documents that we used in the retreat. So you can take a look at that. And I think Kevin had resent everybody the login information for the board members for that drive. So there are a lot of important documents in that drive. So feel free to look around, but I really appreciate that, you know, in this transition, EOEL really have to pick and choose, I guess, probably among many documents to put in that drive. And I think they've done a good job of giving us a good base. Another thing I wanted to call attention to is that I've learned that a couple meetings back, we had a discussion, we were discussing the Head Start. Chris Jackson, who was a former Head Start collaboration director, she had information to share, and she was able to share it in the public comment time. But since then, I've learned that we can have a member of the public contribute to the discussion if the board feels that that public person's contribution will really help us discuss and make decisions. And to do that, a board member can move to suspend the rules. Second, we vote on it, and then have that person join in the discussion. So it was, you know, if it comes up again, I'll try to remind everyone, okay, you know, someone can make a motion and da. So at least it was good to know that within Robert's rules, we can have discussion, you know, contributions from a member of the public, because we as a board have only so much knowledge, and we learn so much from everyone else. So I just want to make sure I said that out loud so that everybody was aware. And if I forget, then you guys can remind me. Okay, let me take roll. Okay, roll call. Alana Bauman.
Here.
Kaui.
Aloha here.
Oh, you're there, okay. Lindsay read it for us. Thank you for being willing to step in.
Thanks,
Cheryl.
Nancy.
Cheryl Kudiamat. Are you here, Cheryl? She told me she couldn't be here. She might have told me she couldn't be here. Soma Gandhi.
Hi.
Hi, Soma. Lindsay.
Here.
Joni Onishi.
Here.
Great. Stephanie Shipton.
Here.
Great. And I'm here. And Dana Luca.
Here.
Rochelle Mahoy.
Here.
Phil Bossert, he is at the HIS conference right now. Napua Rose Hill.
They all here.
Stephen Schatz. Steve, you there? Come back. Matthew Shin.
I'm here, thanks.
Yuko. Yeah, thank you. Okay. So the minutes were sent out with the agenda. And again, mahalo to Tara for compiling the minutes. Any corrections, edits to the October 10th minutes? Okay, hearing none. Can we get a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll move to approve. This is Kauai.
Can get a second?
This is Joni. I'll second.
Okay, mahalo, it's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes. So let me poll the members. Alana,
Aye.
Kauai,
Aye.
Soma,
Aye.
Lindsay,
Aye.
and Joni.
Sorry. Aye.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Aye.
Hello. Okay, I am going to move the approval of the bylaws up to right now, because the next, no, I'm gonna do it after Yuko's date. Okay, I have to make a note, sorry. So after Yuko and EOEL's presentation, then we will do the bylaws and then. No, you know what? Excuse me, I have to make. I'd like to say it was age, but. Can you say, excuse me for so long? We'll just go on to Yuko, so I'm gonna stop sharing.
Hello, everybody. Here's our November update. Again, these first few slides are just highlighting that we are reporting on our roadmap. And these are just references to the roadmap in case if anybody wants to see it. So the first action item is workforce development and support. And so, Ian, would you mind stepping forward and then? Oh,
Yeah,
I don't know if they can hear.
I'll try to project from. here.
Okay, thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Ian Okamoto, Workforce Development Specialist. I have an update regarding our Early Childhood Educator Stipend Program. This is information regarding our summer 2024 participants. So as an update from our previous update from the spring, from summer 2023 to the end of summer 2024. So essentially the entire school year, 2023-24, as well as summer 2023. For that span of time, there have been a total of 114 recipients of our early childhood educator stipend. As we look across that time, the program grew from 10 recipients in summer 2023, 45 in the fall term, fall 2023, 48 new recipients in spring 2024. And in summer 2024, there were just 11 new participants. This is not something to be too worried about because participation in summer programs goes down overall enrollment during the summer goes down. So that is what happened this past summer. Regarding the new summer recipients, looking at their employment situations as they began in the program, all are currently employed in the early learning system, with 55% being in community-based programs and 45% in public BC settings. So we see kind of a nice spread there in terms of where recipients are employed in the sector. And to date, there have been a total of 18 program completers. This past summer, there were 6 new program completers. Next slide. So this slide actually will show the breakdown of the stipend awards across the different program settings. So you see community colleges, undergraduate programs and graduate programs. This is across the UH system. So you can see the breakdown from summer 2023 when it started. There was a total of $24,396 that were awarded. Fall 2023, $101,197. $101,197 in fall 2023. In spring 2024, $134,366. And then this past summer, $75,405.35. And so in total, $335,364.35 have been awarded in our stipend program. Thank you.
Thank you. The next thing we'd like to report on is facilities. So here are the sites that the School Facilities Authority is in the process of doing assessment and design for in terms of minor renovations. So minor renovations means flooring, painting, generally cosmetic. And so you can see the sites that are in design, which means that they have passed the site assessment phase, and then they're working on actual plans, and then the sites on the left side are in site assessment. And then one of the next phases of development that the School Facilities Authority is looking at are what they call hubs. So hubs are quads, so either 4 individual classrooms that are together in a quad, or it could be a double quad, which means 8 spaces. So right now you can see where they are assessing and doing due diligence on Kauai, Maui, Honolulu, and Hawaii Island. And so these were sites that were interested in a renovation, but they were deemed not feasible at this time. So Kalanianaole wanted one of their rooms to be renovated, but there is an issue with the HVAC system. And so that's a little bit outside of the scope and cost structure of School Facilities Authority. Kipapa Elementary offered a portable. So School Facilities Authority has deemed that they will not do renovations on portables. And Lehua Elementary offered a 2nd floor room, which we're not doing 2nd floors. The next part is the funding for the early care and education system. And let me go back. So it says funding, but it's also about data collection. And you can see this part here. This is what Ohana wants from their providers in terms of settings, locations, what prevents Ohana from accessing these opportunities. And so Remy is going to tell us about our rapid survey project. Remy, are you online?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me well? Yes, cool. So my name is Remy Pages. I'm the research statistician at EOEL. And yes, so this is a survey that is actually run by Stanford Center on Early Childhood. And they have elected EOEL in Hawaii to be one of the participants along with the state of Vermont in a state-focused rapid survey pilot. The purpose of the survey, well, actually, the survey was launched in during the COVID period, where this group wanted to know a little bit about the state of being of the families and their young children. And so the eligibility for participating in the survey are parents 18 plus that care for children under 6. There is some a little gift card for compensation to participate in the survey. The survey is there are multiple rounds of surveys. And I think as far as the commitment to the EOEL's commitment to the to this group is simply to reach out to different support for recruitment of families. And I think we can go to the next slide. Yep. And so here you can see the different partners that we already have contacted. Childcare Advisory Coalition, county coordinators, the board, also through EOEL's own channels, and then Head Start, Kamehameha Schools, Learning to Grow, and Patch. To give you an idea, a quick idea of, a feel about what the survey is trying to get at, it's pretty much health factors, family situation regarding economics, development of the child, mental health, etc. So the families are usually contacted, as I said, in multiple rounds. So the Stanford team is just reaching out the first time, and then after that they randomly select families according to the data that comes in and so on. So what, for example, one of the first sample survey questions that one of the items would be, for example, and I quote, currently, how many hours per week on average did you utilize any type of paid or unpaid center-based care for your child or children under the age of 6? Okay. Another one might be, what prevented you from going to a well baby / well child checkup? Another one, in the past month, how hard has it been for your family to pay for the very basics like food, housing, medical care, and utilities? Another example would be, do you have any concerns about your child's learning or development currently? And another one would be, what would like, so it's an open question. I put this example here specifically because here family have a chance to actually write up something to that item, and which is what would you like your elected officials or other policymakers to know about how your family is doing or what you need during this time. So I guess here you can have a sense that you can have a feel like it was actually designed during the COVID period. But anyway, I think it's still relevant during our current time. Thank you.
Thank you, Remy. And just so people understand the timing of this survey, EOEL applied back in April to be a part of Rapid Survey Project because we heard about it and we thought it'd be a really great example trying to bring in family voice as we're doing our comprehensive needs assessment to lead towards our new state plan. We were not selected at that time because they had an overwhelming response from many people who are very interested in the rapid survey. They ended up selecting 5 more local, county, community-based organizations for that project. But in July, they contacted me because they were curious about our application and wanted to learn more about like what's happening in Hawaii. And then in October, they contacted us again and said they wanted to invite us to be a part of this pilot with Vermont for 6 months. And part of it is to look at the survey administration. They have very specific links to each of these different diffusion partners. And so for people who are on our board, If you want me to send you the actual flyer, I can send it to you. If you're posting to social media, the link is a little bit different because there can be bots that are answering surveys, you know, through social media and what have you. So they have a separate link to that, but we have sent out this survey through all of these channels. And what's also neat is trying to see from where the responses come. And so which links actually get the most hits and where were they administered and distributed to. So not only the answers, but also the method of surveying, which is actually kind of interesting because we can definitely use that in the future. So again, the survey, we are only a part of the pilot for 6 months. And after that, we're going to take a look at, you know, all of the information that we've gathered, both about survey administration and also the results. And so the survey will be open from the 1st to the 22nd of each month. And we will push it out to all of the partners. So everybody who received it already will receive it again at the very beginning of December, January, February, and March. And so as much as you're able to promote it, we would really appreciate it. Okay, the next is on program quality improvement and maintenance. And
Yuko,
they
Oh,
will-
there's a
oh,
just
question.
real quick, I'm sorry, but I wanted to ask if, yes, if you can send it actually maybe to the whole board, would that be okay?
yes, of course.
And the link to be shared on social media.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And for the program quality improvement and maintenance, is Kude online?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, hi Kude.
Hi. Okay. For the public pre-K program, with respect to this action item, the classroom assessment scoring system for the pre-K program has started. So the cycle has started. So we do a fall and a spring observation every school year that goes to in every classroom. Our early learning state office teachers are all certified observers, and they go into each classroom and assess the quality of the teacher-child interactions in 3 domains. And their domains are emotional support, classroom organization, and instructional support. And they're rating and looking at the quality of those interactions. And the rating scale falls between low, mid, and high. We use that information to help target and look at the professional learning supports that we deliver throughout the year, as well as individual classroom supports that we provide with the coaching and mentoring. On the professional development side, we have professional learning community days, which are the teacher work groups, which are smaller work groups. We have 6 of those throughout the school year. Those are smaller teacher work groups, again, that are topics based on those groups' needs. And the early learning state office teachers plan and provide for those. And then we have the professional community days, which are our broader program, professional learning that we have for admin and teachers, as well as partners. So we do have district personnel that come and participate in our professional community days, and those are whole groups. But we have this year, just due to space and the number of classrooms, divided into new and returning schools. So we do have 2 days worth of professional community days, and that occurs 4 times a year. Those topics are selected based on the needs of the program that we look at and determine throughout at the end of last school year. And we've come up this school year, we're looking primarily at positive behavior supports within the context of the early learning classroom, with focus on developmentally appropriate practice, as well as the ways that we can help support children and families in the space. So again, but the umbrella topic is creating a caring, equitable community of learners and supporting children through positive guidance. And we've been mindful about preparing and planning for those. We've had our first session in September, and we also had touched on executive function and how that impacts the early learning space. And with all of our new classrooms and schools, we felt that we needed to revisit executive function and learning in the space, as well as looking at the ways that we as a program are supporting the positive guidance in the classroom. And that's going to the theme will be throughout the year. Our next upcoming session will be next week. And the professional community days, which is the overarching programmatic meetings, are 4 times per year.
Thank you, Julie. Moving on to systems update, I wanted to introduce Jennifer Chow. She's in the room here at KCAA, even though you might not be able to see her. She's our new government affairs specialist, and we're really thankful to have her joining our team. She is a former assistant chief clerk for the Hawaii State Senate since 2011. She's also had a range of other experiences, including facilities and grounds administrative officer, bills chief for the Committee on Ways and Means. She's worked with capital improvement and been an office manager, committee clerk, worked with energy and environment. So we are really lucky to have Jennifer on our team, and I'm happy that she's going to continue to help me learn more about the legislative process. So thank you, Jen. Glad that you're with us. Tara?
Hi. Oh,
You're gonna have to talk louder.
Yeah, I'll talk about that's fine. We are very excited that we have a new and improved EOL website coming soon. It is something that we've been hoping to have for quite some time, but we are currently in the process of working with a company that primarily does education websites. And we're very excited because this new website is going to be a much more user-friendly website. Site navigation will be very simple, making accessing information for parents and the public easier. And it's also going to make our job easier to add and edit things off of the website than we currently have. Just for a little bit of background, our website that we're using now is just old technology that the state provided more than 10 years ago, and we're just kind of working with it the best we can, but this will be a much more streamlined, easier to work with website. Website's also going to be mobile friendly, which is really important because right now, most of us are using our phones to access the internet, so it will be very easy for parents or the public, anybody to use the website on their phone. And we will be still utilizing our current URL, earlylearning.hawaii.gov. So we will not have to have a new website. It's just going to be a revamped website. So our address will be the same. And we are on schedule to have that new site up and running right after the holidays. So we're aiming for, I believe, like January 2nd as the launch date right now. And then I just wanted to mention that we do put out a monthly newsletter called Bright Beginnings. We put that out to the public, to our teachers, to stakeholders, to anybody that wants to subscribe. There's lots of information in there. But I did want to mention that we've had some issues with people receiving the newsletter if they have a hawaii.gov address. So if you are not receiving this newsletter and you have a hawaii.gov address, please let me know. I will put my email address in the chat and just drop me a quick line letting me know that you're not receiving it, and I will make sure we can add you. If you have another email address, we can add to that. It has something to do with firewalls. And so there's protection out there that thinks that our newsletter is spam, maybe, but it's not. And then also, if you are not receiving it, just because you are not on our list for some reason, please let me know also, because I do want to add you to the list so you can receive updates and information from us and see what we're up to. So I'll add that in the chat here shortly.
Thank you, Tara. One more.
Oh, one more, okay. And then we've been continuing with our Ready Keiki backpack distribution events. We're working with Lieutenant Governor's office to distribute those Ready Keiki backpacks to our new classroom. And each child receives a backpack that has a book, crayons, notebook, water bottle. Backpacks have been supplied by our partners at Bowers and Kubota. And it's just a wonderful event to attend, and we're very grateful for LG's office and everybody that has worked hard to make these events happen.
Thank you. Mikako?
Yes, hi. Hi, everyone. This is Mikako. A few of us from the office attended the Early Learning Intervention Annual Partner Meeting that was hosted by the Department of Health Early Intervention Section. The meeting was held yesterday on November 13th at the Airport Conference Center. The purpose of the annual Part C Early Intervention Partner Meeting is to bring together Part C providers, administrators, community partners, and families to improve the EI system and strive to have positive outcomes for the children and families receiving EI services. The meeting agenda included an overview of the indicators and requirements. We also got to break into small groups to share ideas on specific topics, and it was a great opportunity to hear from service providers and a parent who participated. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mikako. And then under family support, Ephraim?
Hello, everyone. I'm Ephraim Schwab, the Head Start Collaboration Office Director. I have a few things that I'd like to share with everyone, and one's coming up next weekend, and that's the Food and Farm Worker Relief Program in coordination with Hawaii County. On the slide there, you'll see some of the communities that we will be heading out to. And this is done with great coordination from Hawaii County. I'd like to give a shout out to Leslie Nugent, who's been on the ground there, really collaborating and putting the pieces together logistically for this event to take place. And if you're not familiar with the Food and Farm Worker Relief Program, which is sponsored by the USDA and being implemented by the National Migrant Head Start Association, it supplies $600 stipends to food workers or farm workers who were working during the COVID pandemic. And so Hawaii is one of the last states to receive this funding. So we're grateful to the National Migrant Head Start for coming to the state to help provide that for us logistically. And please help get the word out for that as well. We appreciate that. And the second event just happened, and that was the 2024 Region 9 Head Start Association Family Engagement and Cultural Effectiveness Conference. And the theme of the conference was Strong Families and Strong Futures. We had over 600 attendees from across the country convene at the Prince Hawaii Hotel. And that included the Region 9 Head Start administrators and the Office of Head Start Deputy Director, Tala Kluban. And one of the key moments that we had during that was the time that we got to go visit at Kahawiki Village over by Nimitz. And that was directed by Ben Naki, the president of the Head Start Association. And he really walked us through the story of the development of that area, as well as the Head Start campus there and the impact they're having on the community and families involved. And then another highlight that we had was we had our very own EOEL Executive Director, Yuko, give the opening address during the assembly, and she knocked it out of the park, and it was a great time for all that was involved, and she really left a lasting impact on that. So we appreciate that as well. That's it for me.
And that's the end of our updates.
Great, thank you. So the next agenda item is from Patch, People Attentive to Children. So we first will, I think we'll have Leah McRae. So Leah and Nicole, I think you should be able to share your screen. There.
Okay. Hi, my name's Leah McRae, and I am the registry manager at Patch. I'm also here with Nicole Higa, who is our resource and referral manager. So Patch's mission is to support and improve the quality and availability of care for the young people in Hawaii. And next slide, please, Nicole. So I'm here to talk a little bit about the Patch DHS Early Childhood Registry and our new Early Childhood Education Workforce Registry platform. Next slide. So before I get into the platform, I just wanted to explain the registry a little bit to those of you who may not be familiar with it. Patch is contracted by DHS to maintain the statewide Hawaii Early Childhood Registry. And so for any DHS licensed programs, which include group childcare, preschool, and infant toddler centers, any of their employees who work directly with children must apply for and maintain their registry qualifications through the Patch registry. DHS childcare licensing rules and regs define the education and work experience that are required for qualifications such as aide, assistant teacher, teacher, caregiver, lead caregiver, director. In our nation, we have 46 states that do have some type of early childhood workforce registry, and 21 of those states have a required a mandatory registry participation. Registries connect early learning professionals to program licensing, professional development, quality initiatives, opportunities for growth, and professional advancement, as well as tracking and reporting career progression over time, which is why we are so excited to debut our new registry platform. Next slide, please. This is what our new HIEC registry platform looks like. Next slide, please. One of the great things about our new platform is the workforce data that we can collect and analyze. All of the data that's collected from the new platform is anonymized, so there's no identifying information with any of our data collection. None of the data that we're collecting will be tied to a particular user, a particular practitioner, early childhood practitioner. It won't be tied to the program that they're working with. Any data that we pull from our system will be pulled anonymously and, like I said, not tied to any program or person. The great thing about collecting this data is that by having access to this data, it really does stabilize our industry, the economy, and it supports our ECE workforce by highlighting things like who are missing from our workforce, what is working currently in our workforce, and where to prioritize future investments. Analyzing this kind of data over time will show where the supports have the greatest impact, so it can help mitigate staffing shortages, it can strengthen provider training and preparedness, and it can help us see the ways that we need to support childcare, the childcare industry, and promote well-being for anyone who is working within our career field. Next slide, please. So our workforce registry platform will be used by the following people. There will be users, and the users are the early childhood professionals who are working in DHS licensed programs. Our new platform is really user-friendly, similar to what EOEL was just discussing. It's mobile friendly, so people can use their cell phones. It's beautifully laid out, so it's easy to use and enjoyable for the user to use and manipulate and upload their information. It'll also be used by program administrators, and program administrators are those that we would refer to as center program directors. Those center and program directors are also users on their own because they have their own qualifications as well. Childcare licensing workers will also have read-only access to certain parts of the platform, and those are DHS childcare licensing workers will have access to things like program staffing lists and those staff's qualification. Then Patch career counselors will also have read-only access similar to what DHS childcare licensing workers have, and that is so that they can see the education and qualification of users who they might help with their career counseling to help best plan their future professional development for those users. And then finally, of course, the Patch registry staff will have access to manage the entire site. Next slide, please. Okay, so when you first log on and when you first visit, you don't even have to log on. When you first visit the hiecregistry.org website, this is what you see. You see this page that says Aloha and Register Today, where you can sign in. Also at the bottom, you'll see there's resources and Patch's contact information. So even without signing in, there's a lot of information on this front page when you go on the site, and you don't have to have an account to access some of the resources that are on this front page. Next slide, please. So for the user, once they register and log on and create their account, this is what they would see. This is their dashboard. So on their dashboard, you'll see that this dashboard will contain their qualifications that are listed there. This person's qualification level is GCC Director Teacher, and it shows that that qualification will never expire. It also has a printable registry card that also shows those qualifications. There's a calendar on their dashboard that's currently under development that will have links to training, a training calendar, and links to actually access that training that is available to the early childhood practitioners. There's also a section for messages where they can see all the messages that the registry has sent back and forth throughout the system. Next slide, please. So if you take a look at the user dashboard, you can see further those messages. I just pulled up a picture of what a message might look like. In this message, it says that they uploaded some documents and those are pending. So, you know, if they have questions, they can contact the staff. And then once those documents are approved or denied, they would receive another message stating that as well. Those messages will also be in another queue. This slide also just kind of shows you the dashboard, the left-hand side of the dashboard. If you look on the left-hand side of the screen, their dashboard has several navigation tools on it. The first is they can always return to their dashboard where they would see that card and their qualifications. The next item on that navigation tool is their profile. That's where they would click to update any personal information, such as their contact information and their demographics. The contact information and those demographics would not be visible to anyone but the user. They can also record and update their employment through their profile section, as well as see all their previously verified employment that's available to them in the registry. The My Tools also offers the user a space to upload documents needed for their registry qualifications, such as college transcripts and CDA credentials. They can do that through My Tools on the left side there on the dashboard. Also available through My Tools are the message queue that shows all the messages that have been sent to and from the registry. There's also a very robust resource section in the My Tools that will have forms that might be needed, as well as links to various websites for early childhood practitioners. And then finally, from My Tools, users can access their registry transcript that will show all the education that registry has on file for them. Next slide, please. From that dashboard navigation section, they can also apply for Patch scholarships directly from the HIEC registry site. Previously, they could apply through the Patch general email address, or they would have to mail in a hard copy, but now they can do it directly through this site. Next slide, please. So for the users who are also program admin, they can, from the navigation tool on the left side, they can apply to be program administrators of their current programs. They can request that program admin access for one or multiple programs that they might be managing. They request it by finding their program and submitting that request to the registry team. And then once the registry team verifies and approves that, then they'll go on to the next slide, please, Nicole. If approved, they will see their list of schools that they're managing. And from this screen, they can click on the details of their program. This will contain their licensing information. They can generate various reports for their program to include staff listing and staff education. And under the staffing, they can approve or deny employment requests. So anytime somebody says that they're working at that program, they can send their employment verification to a program admin who would then verify that work experience on behalf of the user. Next slide, please. And finally, from the dashboard, there is an area that's available for reports, and this is the user's reports. So from the user can go on this site and they can take a look and see their own education and training that they have submitted to the registry that the registry has recorded and verified. They'll also have a report that shows their qualification summary. Currently, these reports are available to download and to download into Excel and to print from Excel. And the developers are working on making a more efficient one-page report for our users. Next slide, please. So this is the website for our Hawaii ECE registry site. It's hiecregistry.org. And that's just a little QR code that you can scan if you would like to check out our website. Next slide, please. And if you ever need to contact the registry, that's the registry main line and our registry main email address. And if you ever need to contact Patch, there's the number for the general Patch email and the Patch general email and phone number there as well. So that's it for me. I'm going to turn it over to Nicole, who is going to discuss some other new exciting, another new exciting website from Patch.
Okay, thank you, Leah. I am Nicole Higa. I am the Resource and Referral Manager here at Patch. So along with the registry platform, we are also rolling out our Help Resource Kit. HELP stands for Hawaii Early Learning Platform. And it's basically like a one-stop shop. So it keeps all of the resources all in one place. So it's a digital solution for early educators, program owners, and FCC or family child care providers. They'll have access. So if you're a member, they'll have access to over 2,600 innovative practical tools like handbooks, policies, and guidance on important topics such as budgeting, best practices, also resources for human resources, indoor and outdoor safety, and emergency preparedness. And that's just a little bit of all the vast amount of resources that are available. It is a cost-effective site, so we are one state out of 38 total now that are part of this system. And because there's so many states, so many programs using it, they are able to give reduced costs for different things. So one of the other availability is the telehealth or mental health consultation benefits, and then job board. So I'll go into more depth in the next few slides. So this is our Hawaii customized section, I guess you could say. It is still a work in progress. We are still adding more sections and adding more pieces to each one. We did meet with a few community partners to help us build out this part, but it is going to take a while. This is what we have so far, but we will add more. And then also, these are all the featured tools within the website. So within each of these sections too, we've tried to add pieces of what is pertinent to Hawaii and different Hawaii resources within each of these sections. So it kind of, and this is a sample. So this is from the Family Child Care Toolkit. One of the sections was on tax and helping providers complete their taxes. So this is an actual Excel spreadsheet that is embedded within the website. So it's a tool that they can download and then be able to customize and use for themselves. This is a sample of one. This is another example. This is within the forms, policies, and templates. This is just a sample fire drill log that they can, again, edit it to fit their needs and then utilize that. Okay, there's so many different resources, so I just kind of took a picture of all of the different headings. So these are different sections within the site. And then on the next slide, I have within each section, then there's like little blurbs or information about it, then you can click on it and it'll pull you to a actual PDF document for some of it will pull you to another website. But it's all nicely categorized and nicely organized. So as members, these are some of the extra savings that members would be able to utilize. So this is the savings section, so they could go into the portal, and some of them and depending on each program, there's different ways like you would be able to go in and they'll give you a little code that you can use when you go and check out, or some of it, they give you a little card that you take to the store and then you'll be able to get the discount that way. So the other thing is the job board. So this is where directors would be able to go and register and be able to post different jobs. So just sharing, the jobs are not posted on this site. It does push to different job postings like Indeed, ZipRecruiter, and I think they said there's 17 different types of job boards it gets posted to. So you register here, post whatever job you want, and it gets pushed out to those job sites. So as a member, this is another benefit that members would have as a free access to be able to post jobs. Another benefit are the workforce benefits. So as an employer, so directors would be able to provide all of the ones under employer paid. So if they wanted to, they could go and say they needed an EAP or an employee assistance program. I don't have it on this slide, but I think it was $4 per staff. So again, it's at a reduced cost if providers wanted to utilize that. So all of the ones on the left are employer paid. The ones on the right, the voluntary ones, as a center staff or somebody who works in a program, they could sign up for some of these benefits. So I know a few people were looking into like pet insurance. So if they were to leave that school, move to another school, that benefit would move with them and they're paying for it on their own. Okay. So we are going to have an overview session for all of the providers. That will be next week, Monday, November 18th. It will be through Zoom. All the providers will get that information through our Wednesday newsletter that we send out. And then after the session for providers, just to give them a little bit more information about what the site is and what it means to be a member and what they would get from being a member. We're going to open up registration on Tuesday, November 19th. So all family child care and small centers will have access first. Small centers meaning those who have 60 or less for their license capacity. And then the next week we'll open it up to all the other license programs. Okay. So the next part I wanted to talk about, so that was our help resource kits. Part of CCR&R, we also have our mapping feature. So if you go to our website, patchhawaii.org, and scroll down a little bit and click on this little icon, it's like a picture of the islands. It'll pull up a mapping of all of the licensed and registered facilities in Hawaii. And you can toggle, you can look at the different types of care, or you can look at by region. Right now it's on this screenshot is open programs, all of the little green dots, those are all of the programs and where they're located. But if you go into it, this information is pulled up by the month. So it's pulling this, if you look at the top, it says this is as of November 3rd, 2024. So this will update by the month. We also have point in time data sheets. We do reach out to all providers quarterly to try to get the most accurate information, and that information, whenever you go to this point in time data sheet, so if you go to learn about patch and annual reports and data and click on either any of the islands, or if you want to look at statewide or any of the individual ones, if you click on it, it's going to pull data based on that point in time. And it looks like this. That's an actual sheet and it'll tell you. So I generated this today. I created it today. And it'll give you the number of reported children enrolled, what their aggregated desired capacity, license capacity, and then it'll separate it by centers. So centers is on the top, and I kind of just couldn't fit it on the page. So the top part was centers, and then the bottom was FCCs. And then it'll give you the part-time rates and the full-time rates. And then on the next page, it gives total amount of facilities. Same information. We also have this sheet. That QR code will take you directly to the October one. This is pulled monthly. So the point in time is pulled based on whenever you click on that link, it'll tell you what we have in the system. These sheets that we produce and we put up on our site, it is aggregated monthly. So this one's saying July, but the one that's on our site right now is showing for October. Same information, just a little bit of a different layout. That's rates. And then there's another one for capacity. And then same thing, this is by the month. So right now on our site, it's showing the October capacity. And then just to share, if anybody does want to put in any data requests, this QR code will take you to our data request form that you can fill out and then submit to ccrr@patch-hi.org. That's where those go. And we try to process these within 5 business days. Usually it's quicker, but we say within 5 business days, depends on the amount that are coming in. And there's our contact information. So it's our phone number and our email. Any questions?
Okay, so we're gonna take questions from the board and then questions from the public, and then I need to go back. You know, I write it down and then I forget to look. And then we'll go back to the EOEL part because I forgot to ask for questions from the board and from the public. And there are questions. So first we'll go with Patch. Any questions from the board regarding any of this information? Which is a lot of information. Thank you so much for sharing.
I have a question.
Sure.
And yeah, well, I'll just ask. Nicole.
And state who you are so that.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Aloha, this is Ko-E Burgess. Nicole, is there any possibility to share information about funding sources from the state on the help kit on the website?
You know what? I have it on. Let me pull it up real quick on our website.
Or any opportunities for funding for parents, like preschool open doors or anything that like EOEL is working on? I'm just wondering if there's a way we can partner in communicating to our audiences. We have the same audiences, and wondering if there's a way to partner.
Yes, I will take down your information.
Such a great website, and there's so much good information. So yeah, please excuse my granddaughter's call.
Yeah, so I can pull up. Let me pull up the website right now. But yes, we are all about partnering. The site. I just don't want to say it wrong. Let me just pull it up so I can go to the right place. So as far as funding, let me share my screen. So that is on our page right now. So right now, this is the funding that went into producing the site. I know it was like a long process. I think it took about 2.5 years to get us to this point. So ECAS and then Kayaulu is who helped fund the site. But yes, right now it's funding, I believe, for the next year, and we're going to look at trying to keep it funded so that providers don't need to pay. So right now it will be free to all members, and then I think we're going to look at trying to keep funding it so that it can continue to be free for members.
That's so great, and the PDG is on there as well. Thank you so much. That's all I had.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions from board members?
Am I considered?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I have a question. I love this. I think it's really exciting. And one of the things I was wondering is, for the registry, everybody who's already existing, are they merged over into that new set, or does everybody have to like re-register to get access into that?
So everybody will have to register to create their own account. However, their data has been transferred over into our accounts. So anything that was already in the DHS database has been transferred over. It's just getting signed in correctly. Yep.
Okay, I had a question about the registry, because you were clear that the data is anonymized. But is it tied to geographic areas? Like, can you see in one area what the needs are according to the programs and?
Yeah, so it's anonymized in that it's not going to be tied to a direct person, but like, yes, we could pull data that says like in Maui, you know, this is the data for Maui, or this is the data for Hawaii. So it is going to be able to be pulled by county, yes, but not, it just won't be tied to person or program.
Okay, and there was a slide in the resource kit. You showed capacity. So I wondered the definition of capacity. Can you share that definition? Because, yeah, what does it mean, capacity?
So two different ones. So there's licensed capacity. So that is what is by the licensing worker, and so this is how many kids you can have. And then there's desired capacity. Desired capacity is either licensed capacity or less. A lot of times a program will have a lower desired capacity because maybe they don't have enough staff. So maybe they have 5 classrooms, but they don't have enough staff to hold 5 classrooms. So their desired capacity might be less than what they actually are licensed for, depending on what the capabilities are of the program at that time. So generally, and I'm just speaking generally, looking at all of the programs, majority of them are not operating out of license capacity. It's usually a little bit less.
Okay. A lot of times because you want to have a better ratio of staff to.
Correct.
So the other question associated with that is, so families can see if the programs have openings by looking at one of those.
Well, so the ones that I showed, it was all aggregated data, so it doesn't show by program, but within each program, and again, it's depending on when providers answer us or they get back to us, it will show how many openings they have. So sometimes the program might show, oh, I have 0 openings, but they actually have 2 openings. They just haven't updated with patch yet.
Families can always call that program to see.
Correct.
Updated information.
And that's what we recommend they do.
But it is monthly updated information, right? On the-
Quarterly.
Quarterly.
Yeah. But a provider can go in. So on our database, they could go in and update as frequently as they want, but a lot of them sometimes wait till we call them. So we reach out to contractually reach out to them quarterly, but they could update as frequently as they want.
I have one more question.
Sure.
Sorry. It kind of came to the top of my mind because Chair asked about geographic breakdown. And the reason why I'm excited about this is because we're still trying to solve for the workforce piece and the Hawaii attainment goal. I'm going to put the part of the data that we're still trying to solve into the chat, the verbiage, so that we can all see what it says. But it says, you can see it there, but what I'm wondering is, you know how you anonymize the data or you pull it? One of the things here, it says, and retention of educators. So even though you're not tying data to, like, say, a specific person, will you be able to see like whether, like, if they've stayed at the same place for X amount of time, or would directors be able to see that? Or is there some way that the system would be able to track that? I'm just wondering.
I think it sounds like we could. I would think so. I mean, based off of that statement in the chat, I would think we could, because we would have verified employment data and we could, you know, we could pull it. It just, again, we just wouldn't tie it to the name or the program. And then as far as retention goes, we do have an option. So when people leave, of course, we don't have this data now, but in the future, we will have data for reasons why people are leaving the field as well.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions from the board? Okay, any questions, comments from the public? For the patch one, and then I'm gonna go back to the EOEL presentation. If you have a comment, you can indicate, you raise your hand or put it in chat or say something.
I have one, and it's more of a leading question, because I know the answer. But if Nicole can talk a little bit about,
Can you identify yourself?
sorry.
So we,
Ina Bonacorsi, the Maui County Early Childhood Coordinator. And one of the exciting features that I had heard about with the shared resources is the ability for them to post vacant positions. So if I mean, you might have mentioned it, but it went kind of fast for me, but that's to me an exciting thing to get shared across the system. So if you could talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, sure. So that's our, let me go to it so I get the verbiage correct, but it is our job board and it is through a system called Acquire for Hire. Let me just pull that up. Yeah, so it's called the Hawaii Early Childhood Job Board. What directors would have to do if they become a member of our site, they would go to the job board and then they could register for an account and then post jobs that they have. And like Karina said, we get that all the time at Patch. We have directors calling, I need to post jobs, I need to post jobs. So this is like another venue for them to do it. And it does get pushed out through, I know for sure they said Indeed and ZipRecruiter, and there's a whole bunch more. Those are the biggest ones though. So when they post a job, it'll get posted. And then also through Acquire for Hire, you can track it too. So you can see how many people are clicking on it and how many people are applying. And you can see if it's getting any traction. Does that answer your question, Karina? Does that help? Okay.
thanks. Any other questions from the public? Comments? Okay, I think, thank you very much, Patch. Really appreciate you sharing the awesome information. Having been involved with the original registry when it started in 2000, it's really great to see this update happening because it's been a long time coming. So thank you very much for that work. And thank you to DHS for getting all of that, keeping it going. So thank you. I'm going to go back now to the EOEL presentation. And what I'm thinking right now, maybe in the future, is maybe I'll ask for questions after each presenter because you forget, well, I forget. So
I'm inserted into my slides just so.
oh yeah, that would be really helpful. So for there was a lot of information shared in the EOEL presentation, but any questions from board members first?
I have a question.
Yes.
And this was on the expansion list that you had shared. I think the way it was shared for this programs on Kauai, it had listed Anahola, Kauai Community College.
This is Alana. I'm just.
Oh, this is Alana Bauman. I'm so sorry.
Thank you.
It had listed Anahola, Kauai Community College, and Kanui Kapono. And so I just wanted clarification because Kanui Kapono is in Anahola. So is that a duplicative? Is that the same or is that an additional? Sorry.
My understanding of that, those are two different locations.
So it's two different so
Yes.
Anahola and Kanui Kapono.
Yes. That's my understanding from the update that we received, but I can check for you.
Okay, thank you. Just because Kanui Kapono is in Anahola. So clarification on that would be helpful.
Sure.
Any other questions from board members? I had questions. And this I think maybe is for Napua and EOEL because Ian talked about the scholarships from the stipend program. And I know that I believe Kamehameha Schools gave Chaminade a bunch of scholarship money, and I wonder if is that data tracked through EOEL or not at this time? because that is an important component of our workforce. I don't know, Napua, do you have any?
I think the data that Ian is tracking is specifically for the UH stipend, but on the
Yeah.
Kamehameha side, we are tracking our Chaminade Mu'o scholars.
So what would be the best way? I think this is maybe an example of, I'm hoping to propose a communication and collaboration committee. So maybe in that committee, what would happen is figuring out how all of this information, who, gets collected so that we have that bigger overall view of the system. So, yeah,
Yes,
it's good.
most
go ahead.
definitely. We can totally share data because the workforce is a critical piece of the system that collectively we need to build up to make sure both the private sector and the public sector have enough kumu in the classrooms.
Right. Thank you. And that's a significant amount of money too. So thank you very much for helping to grow our educators.
Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Can I
Ian.
respond? Yeah. Mahalo Napua. And yes, definitely would like to collaborate and have that kind of communication happen. And just so you know, I have been in touch with the folks who are coordinating the scholarships at Chaminade and with Chaminade. So yeah, that data piece is going to be very helpful. And so yeah, I look forward to that.
And then
Hello, Mike. This is Napua. I have one more Manao, but also tracking our CDAs as well, because right now Patch has several CDA programs that they're getting kumu makokau to be immediately in the classroom, and those are some that we are also funding as well. So we're looking at all the multiple entry points for someone to join the workforce, to make sure that we have a sustainable and robust workforce in all the different positions that's necessary, as well as including Patch's reimbursable program, because that is also a form of scholarship, except it's like a backwards reverse. You have to pay up front and you get reimbursed, but that is still money that we are putting into the workforce system. Right now, we have millions of dollars going into workforce, and the retention is not there. So hopefully in this committee, as we start to look at communication, workforce, the system in general, we may be able to also identify another problem or another solution for our workforce problem, because it may not necessarily be the lack of funding for education, just something else that all of us who have been in the field forever are trying to find out what is that magic thing. So that would be really awesome if we could work on that as well.
Yes, thank you.
May I ask the moment, Ian? So the program completers though? That doesn't necessarily mean it's only masters or bachelors. That could be, is that also CDA and
Yes.
associates completers?
Yeah, so
So maybe you can break that out a little bit more the next time.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, so Napua, the reason, I just kind of chatted back with Ian because he's sitting behind me. So the stipend program does pay, it pays for CDAs, it pays for associates, bachelors, and masters. So when he mentioned the completers, actually, I was suggesting that what we need to do is actually break that out. So we can track, like, what did they complete, rather than the quantity of how many people completed.
That's excellent.
But we can track that the next time.
Yeah, good idea. Thank you. And then I had a question about the facilities piece. And you mentioned the hubs, one of the hubs would be at Paia. So is that 4 classrooms?
They're doing an assessment.
They're doing assessment, because that would be a pretty big impact on that community. And I guess I'm wondering also if our community because Paia is an immersion school, would a Punanaleo be able to be in that preschool center, would they be able to use that facility? So, because Paia's, yeah, that's kind of a lot of children for out there, so,
Yeah, so I think if I could just explain
yeah.
the hub process.
Yeah.
Because the hub process is a little bit different than the renovation process.
Okay.
So the renovation process comes because a principal has asked for a program on their campus and that they have a site to renovate, and most likely they're always looking for EOEL to do the pre-K in those spaces. Outside of that, though, I think hubs are coming up because eventually DOE campuses and properties and facilities will not be able to handle very many more renovated spaces just because they're going to max out on their site capacity. So SFA is transitioning to hubs. And I think maybe we could invite them one time to talk about this, but they've developed this community-based scorecard. So they've looked at people who have expressed interest somehow, that it has come to their attention that they're interested in early learning in their spaces. And they have this scorecard that looks at community infrastructure, traffic patterns, jobs, number of children. And then they have this scorecard that kind of rates communities so that they can see whether or not it passes certain thresholds for feasibility. And then they are working out other details with the Department of Education. I would say generally when it comes to hubs, EOEL sits kind of on the side because we don't own property. So we have asked administrators, what do you want to have? What do you want to do with this space? Who do you want to occupy it? And whoever they wish, then we can help. So if they want EOEL, fine. If they want like a community-based provider, we can now contract spaces. So because hubs are considered new builds, they have to go through the whole permitting process. So it's a little bit of a ways out. But I think probably the best bet is I can continue to give updates on where they're at for hubs, but maybe we could have them also speak to us again.
Okay. Thank you, because I think, yeah, they might need more information on the community or have community input. Okay, and then I had another question. It was about the rapid survey, and then I know Kaina has a question about that too. So my question was, oh no, never mind. My question was answered in it. So let me ask for any other questions from the board.
I have one.
Sure.
It was for Ian relating to the summertime recipients. Ian, I wanted to know, and I guess it's more of a communications question, so maybe Tara can help. But I wanted to know what you thought accounted for the increase in the recipients.
The increase in recipients?
Summer usually has a lower number of.
There was a decrease.
Yeah.
I mean, in terms of new recipients.
I'm sorry, maybe I read it wrong. I thought that there was 10 in 2023 and then 45 in 2024. Did I read that wrong, Ian?
Yuko's looking for the slide now. And, you know, summer enrollment, because I worked at community college, is usually low because summer is self-sustaining. The tuition is much higher for summer classes than it is during the regular fall, spring.
There it is. I guess it was 45 new recipients in the fall term, 48. From 10 new recipients in summer 2023 to 45 new recipients in the fall and 48 new recipients in the spring 2024. In summer 2024, there were 11 new recipients. So I was wondering about the increase between summer and the spring, maybe. Maybe that's what it was. I didn't read it well. What was the, do we think that there's a reason for that? And maybe is that what you were saying, Chair, that there's a difference in cost?
It's There, at the community college level, there is a big difference in cost. There are also fewer classes that are available, but, and then also in the colleges, they're kind of geared for fall and spring recruitment of students. So I don't know, if that was the reason, but it kind of, knowing the community college pattern, that pattern of numbers makes a lot of sense.
Ian, does that seem like that's what it could be?
Yes, that is my understanding, and yes, from what I understand, across the system, enrollment decreases over the summer. And that's due to the reasons that Elaine kind of laid out, the cost as well as, the number of classes or after. Yeah.
Thanks so much for that. I was thinking maybe it was something that we were doing.
But I will say that just overall, when we look at the stipend participation rates, they have they've been trending up. I'm not sure if that is something that we can expect to continue, but we'll definitely let you know once we get the information around this fall term.
Yeah, that could be trending up just organically, right? Because each year more and more people know about it.
Yeah, word spreads.
Yes.
Okay. Thanks so much, Ian. Thanks, Chair.
Elaine, I have a question.
Yes.
Regarding the hubs. Yuko, is UH, this is Joni, Hawaii County. Is UHH planning to eventually open an early learning center, or are they just loaning their space?
So I don't have that information right now.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Joni. Any other questions from the board? Okay, I know Kaina had a question, so it's time for public comments and questions. So Kaina, go ahead.
Hi, everybody. Kaina Bonacorsi, Maui County Early Childhood Provider. And I wasn't sure what the process is, so I kind of put it into writing as far as testimony, and then I'll go into questions. So thank you for the opportunity to provide input on the administration of family feedback surveys and project communication within the early childhood learning and care initiatives. I'd like to express concerns about the concurrent release of multiple family surveys, namely the RAPID and PDG surveys. While family feedback is invaluable, releasing multiple surveys at the same time can lead to confusion, survey fatigue, and potentially diminished participation. The overlap may not only affect families' willingness to complete both surveys, but may also compromise the quality and clarity of the feedback we receive, as families might be uncertain about which survey is for which purpose. Additionally, I understand the QR code currently links directly to partnering distributor. As a coordinator responsible for distributing these surveys, I'm concerned about ensuring clarity and accuracy in representation. With multiple surveys in circulation simultaneously, clear survey identifiers and distinct messaging are essential for helping families distinguish between surveys and understand their individual importance. For data reliability, I suggest that each survey have its own targeted distribution strategy. Furthermore, I respectfully request that tracking metrics tied to our coordinator's distribution role may be reconsidered for analysis, as they may not be fairly represent the effectiveness of survey dissemination. Finally, I want to raise a broader point of coordination and communication surrounding these initiatives. It has come to my attention that the roles and responsibilities often assigned on EOEL projects without consulting all relevant partners. As dedicated stakeholders in the early childhood learning and care, we bring valuable insights on the ground, understanding that can strengthen these efforts if we are included in the decision-making process. Moving forward, I would strongly advocate for a more collaborative approach, ensuring that all involved parties have a voice in the planning and implementation strategies of stages of such initiatives. So as Elaine had mentioned further, I will say that I would love to be a non-ELB member on her coordination and communication committee if it should ever be established, because not only like the PDG, this happened with us and the coordinators, this rapid survey, it happened. So there's multiple times where this is happening, and our voice in that discussion process. I get it. I don't want to give up on the opportunities either, Yuko. They are great, but we just need to do it in a more collaborative approach to understand what those expectations and hopes are for the local level participation. Also, like Elaine said, I can bring into this mix, talking about the hubs or where the new EOEL classrooms are going to be. EOEL often takes a very DOE or administrator's perspective into alignment, and the community coordinators and other community members can bring in that community, the community voice or the community provider voice, which are a very big part of our system as things are evolved. So, if they can be answered, I would really like to know that or see how our coordination on these surveys can be better done, because, having to distribute both surveys on initiatives that were both EOEL initiatives is a bit alarming for me. And to say that, oh, we're going to see which of those distributions comes back on the QR codes when we have two very robust surveys all targeting families. And if I've looked at it, for Maui County anyways, those questions are similar with different incentives tied. So I don't know where that goes, but.
Yes, so I'm hearing that there are different surveys going out to families simultaneously. And this is and it is another example of being able to, we need to collaborate better and coordinate better. And I guess, because the rapid survey is going to go out or be available every month, for 6 months. And so I'm wondering if that's going to be, is there going to be a lot of duplication of information or?
Yeah, so they're the ones who are going to be monitoring.
Okay, so the rapid survey people will be monitoring. Okay, but I hear your point, and yes, we will, here's another example of coordination and collaboration. And we will work with what comes up and learn from what's happening and keep moving forward. So thank you for bringing those points up.
Could I make a comment?
Sure.
So Kaina, I just wanted to say, I had read the county coordinator meeting notes, and in the last set of notes, it did not say that there was a survey that had been developed. I learned that after from you and Alana, so I apologize for that. Alana did ask for the questions, and I sent it to her. And I think just at a very brief first pass, it looks like maybe some of it was just slightly different, and that the county questions were 6 coordinated questions that the county coordinators are deciding to push out to people. And so that's the only thing that I knew about it, but I did not know that there was a survey, a 6-question survey that was going to go out from the county. So I apologize for that. And but I would love to work together, and maybe we can set up more frequent meetings between EOEL and the county coordinators. I think I would appreciate that, but that'd be great if we could meet more regularly.
And I think just on this one, what happened was timing, wasn't in our favor, but it was because what happened was the PDG contracts got pushed out, and in every one of those contracts, it had a family survey to be distributed. And then when they worked on the family survey to be distributed, and it's slightly different. We have some common that are, going to be from all, but then there are, like Maui County is going in a little bit more depth on certain areas that Kauai County is not. And then how we are distributing it is different, and what do you call it? So it's just a matter of communicating, but this one just timing hit us wrong. And neither of us knew what the other was doing, because you went for this rapid survey grant and we were then following, which took us 1.5 years to agree to join in on PDG. And then we do something and woof, we're at a like.
And I've learned that the PDG activities are really PDG activities, not necessarily reported or linked to EOEL, but so again, communication, collaboration, but yeah, thank you for and I think that this is really helpful.
I think it's great too.
Yeah.
And then I guess if the counties could send us your questions too, I would love to take a look at those. Thank you.
Great. We're at 3 o'clock, we're just 10 minutes behind. So we are going to take a 10-minute break and then come back, and we have a bunch of things to vote on. So 10-minute break. Okay. I am moving item 10 up to now so that we can approve the bylaws, and because it has an impact on the next item, which is about the bill about the composition of the early learning board. So I'm going to turn it over to Nat for the approval of the proposed bylaws.
Mhm. Thanks, Elaine. Hi, everybody. Matt Chim from Department of Health. Um, I believe Dana, I was not here because I was at a grantee meeting, but Dana presented the proposed bylaws back in October. So hopefully you've had a chance to review those. So I would like to make a motion for approval of the bylaws as presented on October 10th, 2024.
Okay, we have a motion. Can I have a second?
I have some questions before we make an approval.
Yeah, we're just gonna, I need a second first and then we can have
Or to
discussion.
discuss then?
Yeah,
Are we moving to discuss it or are we moving to accept it?
we're moving.
So we make a
and-
motion, the motion is approved, discussion happens, and then it's decided whether to approve or disapprove. Then we can make another motion if
Okay, we're not-
necessary.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we're not motioning to approve the bylaws right now. Okay.
No, we actually are as
And then we'll discuss.
as proposed. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is there a second to the motion?
This is Joni. I'll second the motion.
Thank you, Joni. Okay, so yeah, now, yes, questions, comments, edits. Kauhi, did you have
I
a,
just had, oh, sorry.
yeah, go ahead.
I just had a couple of questions. Well, a few, I think there were like 5 areas, sections that I had questions on. A couple I
Mhm.
think may have been typos.
Oh,
And then a couple, I think we gotta just confirm on, I wanted confirmation on the sunshine law. So for section 7.2, compliance with laws, I think there's a typo where it reads, okay, it says members shall comply with the state ethics code, chapter 84, HRS, state public agency meetings and records law, chapter 92, HRS, and another other law applicable to the board. I just, I think, and another other, maybe a typo. So if that can be checked. And I'm not sure if these corrections were already made, Elaine. But I'm just, I was looking
no,
at
I
the
thank you
document
for,
that was sent to us.
right. So we can make those, we'll start tracking those, your comments so that we can correct or amend the bylaws as needed. So, and any other law applicable is probably what is meant. Thank
Okay.
you. And you had more?
And then I wanted to check on section 8.1. Did we create a standing committee for legislative matters?
Correct, we did not. So we can strike that. We can, for now, we can.
Yeah, just to remove standing committee
Right.
legislative matters. That's it, needs to be
Thank
stricken
you.
from that section. And
I
then,
wonder I wonder if we need to add. So my governance people.
We actually only have 2 standing committees. The
Are
rest
you?
are all ad hoc.
Okay. So we'll just keep those 2 standing committees right now. For now, we're striking the legislative one. Okay,
and then section 8.4.
Mhm.
I wanted to check on the sunshine law. The language says each standing board committee shall have a membership of no less than 3. Is that what we intended? No less than 3? or no more than 3?
No, it has to have a minimum of 3.
But they don't have to be, voting board members.
Voting board members, correct.
Yeah.
Oh,
They
okay,
can be
okay, okay.
Non-voting or voting board members.
Okay. So no less than 3, so that's the minimum. And then no more than 7. So we can have 5 voting members on there and 2 non-voting?
We could, but if we go to 5 voting members, then that committee will fall under sunshine law.
Yeah, so that's my question. I just wonder if we should, if it's
Clarify.
necessary, it may not be, but I just see that there is room for, I don't know.
I think it's automatic for sunshine law that we cannot have more than a quorum at any time without invoking public notice, etc.
Yeah,
So,
so totally
and-
understood, and that's why I'm raising the question.
We had actually discussed this before as a standing committee, and it's really up to the up to the standing committee to either have a quorum, because it's possible, but then just meet all of the sunshine law requirements because it's required. It's just kind of built in. Although at the moment they're like governance, there's only one voting member. The rest we're all ex officio or invited members. So
So I'm more thinking about, so we know this. 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, if these bylaws are still being used as, oh, that's what they used to do. I just wonder if we should clarify in there, put language in there that relates to the sunshine law, maybe something relating to with the mana'o that as long as it meets sunshine law. Well, it may not be, it just may be me being over, I don't know, over cautious, and if so, please forgive me for wasting our time.
Appreciate you bringing it up.
I just feel like there should be some kind of clarification.
Because, okay, tell me the scenario that you are envisioning that might result if there's
So
no
10
power.
years from now, Matt's not here, Elaine's not here, Kaui's not here, like all of us are not here. These bylaws could still be standing or used as this is what they did without the understanding of what we're speaking right now, because there's no language here to point out that we are standing within, we are staying within the sunshine law. Just wondering, I mean, we don't.
I think it's actually all covered in section 9, meetings of the board, which covers.
Yeah, I read that too.
So it covers committee meetings, but it says we're subject to chapter 29.
We're
Or
talking
excuse me,
about
92.
quorum and voting, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So then that takes me to section 13.3. 2/3 vote of the total membership of the board. So that means voting and non-voting members. So that means the voting members will be able to vote on the bylaw amendments, right? Voting members can then vote on the bylaw amendment. That's my question. It's a question.
As my understanding is that only voting members can vote on any of these matters.
Okay, so just checking on but then what does that, can someone explain that for me then, just for clarification for me?
So
2/3 vote of the total membership of the board, so.
So right now we have 9 voting
9
members,
voting
but
members.
one seat is vacant.
Yeah, so we
Then
have
we
8
have 8.
and 6 voting, non-voting.
But we would need to have 6 of the voting members that would be constitute the 2/3 vote.
I think by rule of the law, the membership, membership is actually only the voting members. Ex officios, we're nothing. Invited members are actually not members of the board per se.
You're something. You guys are plenty. Cannot vote. Does that make sense, Chloe?
Yeah, no, I get it. So it's the same as when we change an item on the agenda. We need 2/3
Correct.
total membership. Okay,
Correct.
I got it.
Yes.
Thanks.
Yes.
Thanks for that, Matt.
Thank
And then
you.
just a typo in section 10.3. Where is it? It says, okay. I'll read the whole thing. To the extent allowed by law, the board may delegate functions and responsibilities to the director of the EOEL, and the director of the EOEL may further delegate those duties and responsibilities to appropriate employees of the EOEL. Any, provide any. So maybe and provide any, just a typo.
Right.
That was it.
Oh, thanks
And
for
that was all
catching
I
up.
had.
No, thank you I really appreciate you going through the bylaws closely. That's very important. So there are like 3 different amendments to clarify.
So is there any other discussion or questions from the other board members? Yeah.
Hearing none. Okay.
Okay, so the motion is to approve the bylaws as presented in October 2024. So it does require a vote. So basically, if you think that changes need to be made, a negative vote would be required. And then we can make a different motion after this.
We can do that. Okay, that probably is easiest. So we are going to vote on the current, what was presented. We're not voting on the amended one yet. We're going to make a motion for that one. So this is a vote on the October bylaws. Okay, does that make sense to my board members? Is okay? I can go down the line. Alana.
Can we just change the motion to amend it?
No, we cannot change the motion.
Okay.
The motion was made and seconded. Yeah. Darn
Yeah.
Robert's Rules of Order.
Yeah, thank you. Jeez. Okay, so this is the first one, so we'll go down the line. I can't tell you how I want you to vote. You guys can figure out. Alana.
No.
Okay. Howie.
This is to accept it. Again, just for clarification, this is to accept the one that was presented in October for discussion, right?
Correct.
So yes.
Oh, no, Howie, no. We are, you are voting on approval of the bylaws as presented.
Oh, okay, no then.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Suma.
No.
Lindsay.
No.
Joni.
No.
Stephanie.
No.
Okay, so that motion
Did not pass.
did not pass. We can have another motion read.
Yes. So, again, this is Matt Jim from Department of Health. I make a motion to include the corrections provided by Board Member Cowie Burgess to correct the October 2024 proposed bylaws and making those corrections submit those to the board for approval. That makes sense?
Yes,
Yeah, this is Joni. I second.
thank you. Okay, it's been moved and seconded to have the bylaws approved with the suggested corrections. Any other questions or discussion? Okay, I'm going to go down the line. Alana,
Aye.
okay, Howie,
Yes.
Soma,
Aye.
Lindsay,
Yes.
Joni,
Aye. Approve.
and Stephanie.
Aye.
Okay, mahalo. So we will make the corrections. Thank you so much for going through those, the bylaws. And yay, we have bylaws, okay.
Yes, thank you very much.
Okay, so the next item is the clarification on the proposed bill. And in the meeting packet, I don't think we'll have a meeting packet for every meeting, but just this meeting had so many documents. I thought I'd put it together in that one packet. So the details are in the agenda. The proposed bill, we have been talking mainly about the Head Start Collaboration Office director and making sure that now that we have passed the bylaws, within the bylaws, we have conflict of interest clause. So that would recuse the Head Start Collaboration Office Director who sits in EOEL from any discussions about the EOEL Executive Director. However, the actual bill also includes, in order to comply with the Head Start Act, the president of the Head Start Association or their designee. Okay, so there are two positions in the current bill that are being proposed to add to the non-voting members of the board. One of the current at-large voting members may also satisfy the requirement to include, and this is language from the Head Start Act, a representative of local providers of early childhood education and development services. But this requirement is not directly addressed in the current statute. So Cheryl, who's not able to be here today, she is a preschool director. She could be seen as being that member. So, do I have one? Let me see. Okay, so thank you, Jen, for recommendations. The edited bill, because EOEL has to go back and forth with DOE and the governor's office, the edited bill that adds a Head Start agency representative and the Head Start collaboration director. It's recommended that that be approved and submitted for inclusion in the governor's, possible inclusion in the governor's admin package. And we just approved the bylaws. We'll cover the conflict of interest issue. And they have deadlines. So to meet the deadline, the timeline for the 2025 administration package legislative proposals, we still have a little time between this meeting and next meeting to talk about that representative of the early childhood education and development services community. I don't expect that the board will come to a decision today, but what is recommended is that we approve the current edited bill. And as we discussed today and then next meeting, how to address the representative of local providers, we will still have opportunity to offer, if we come to that decision during session, we'll have opportunity to offer amendments to the bill. So I think I'm not going to have. Well, let me ask first, does that make sense, voting and non-voting board members? That we submit what the edited bill looks like today, without addressing directly the early childhood representative at this time.
Hi, Elaine, this is Matt from DOH. The legislative package and getting it to the governor, that process is kind of intensive because it has to go through several steps before it gets out of DOE, EOEL, DOE to the governor. I would just recommend we submit our best effort and then be ready to offer amendments if it's brought before the legislature. That's just my 2 cents. Thanks.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions from voting or non-voting board members?
No, but I agree with Matt. This is Cody.
Oh, and also another 2 cents. Legislative package bills. So governor admin package bills have a little bit more weight, and often are usually 100% heard by the House and Senate. So.
Thank you. So we want to make sure it gets into the package.
So your question, Elaine, you're on mute.
No, I didn't say anything. Did somebody else have a question?
Yeah, so Matt, what would you consider best effort?
Well, I think the edited bill that was in the packet is.
You would consider that?
I think that's where we're at. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it has, I think it's a 90% solution, but we still have to figure out the local provider representative portion, like, based on the Head Start law. But having the other 2 pieces of that in the legislation or moving forward, I think is necessary because we're not necessarily in compliance with the Head Start Act. Yeah. So.
Okay, thank you.
So the chair will entertain a motion to approve submittal of the edited bill for the administration package. So the main difference that we didn't know before was that the Head Start Association, Head Start agency representative would be in, but that again is compliance with the Head Start Act.
This is Joni. I move to submit that edited version to administration packet, I guess. Yeah.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Lindsay, I'll second.
Lindsay seconded. Okay, any other questions or discussion on the motion? Okay, hearing none, I will go down for the roll call vote. So this is to give EOEL permission to submit the edited bill as part of the package, which is already, it's edited because they've already gone through some back and forth. So it's been worked on. Alana,
Aye.
okay, Kali,
Aye.
Suma,
Aye.
Lindsay,
Aye.
Joni,
Aye.
Stephanie.
Aye.
So that passed, so we can move forward with that. So now, we can start this discussion. So should the requirement to include a representative of local providers be clarified in the statute? Again, to satisfy to be in compliance with the Head Start Act. So that's the first question. The next one would be, if so, would this be a non-voting or voting member? If we choose to name it in the act, in the statute. If it's a voting member, does the board wish to specify that one of the county or at-large seats must also fulfill that requirement? Or does the board want to add another voting member? Or would it be a non-voting member? And in the previous board composition, I thought the Child Care Business Coalition was a representative. On the clarification, I talked to Christina, she said, I've known Christina for so long, and she was that representative for a long time, but it was, and she was part of Child Care Business Coalition, but they did not appoint subsequent representatives. It kind of, people that filled that position on the former board after Christina kind of organically volunteered to fill that position. So it wasn't like any entity or body like with the Head Start Association, you know, they're going to have their president or designee be that. That's a proposal. It wasn't anybody that appointed that early childhood representative. So should there be an entity that does that is a question, I think, or could this requirement be met by any provider of early childhood education development services? So, you know, kind of, I think we need to discuss maybe the voting, non-voting part first. What do people think? Well, first, should the requirement to include the representative of local providers be clarified? Do we want to name that in the statute? Or do we want to trust that somebody will be filling that position?
I think we should name it, not just trust that it's gonna organically happen just by chance.
Mhm.
This is Stephanie. I agree. I also wonder though, if it could be language along the lines of, like one of the members or the board shall include a representative from a childcare provider, but not create a new seat for it.
So,
To create flexibility in the statute. I think if we open the door to starting to add lots of different additional members, that could send us down a rabbit hole.
oh, yeah.
Just as we're getting our feet under us.
I
Yeah.
agree.
So, okay, Stephanie, so you're saying that, because one of the considerations was having that one of the 9 voting members needs to fulfill this spot. That's what you're saying. So we want to add language.
Let me pull up the language and then I can give you more specific feedback.
So currently, I'm hearing that we should at least clarify this in statute. If anybody feels otherwise, let us know your reasons.
So I would maybe, I'm looking at the statutory language right now. I wonder if it's like a paragraph right before, at the end of section 1 that says the board shall include a representative from a local provider of an early childhood education, a local early childhood education provider within its membership. So some kind of language, Matt could probably write this better. That doesn't create a new seat, voting or non-voting. But creates flexibility within the requirement of having a provider represented.
Hi, this is Ronald Rodriguez, Deputy Attorney General. Just wanted to add, when you're specifying things like this, you want to make sure you're not putting yourself into a position where you might have trouble meeting those qualifications. Now, it sounds like the way this discussion is going, you're not going to have a problem with finding someone that fits all these different categories that you're trying to fill. But since you are putting it in statute, that means that you're obligated to do this. So you don't want to put in anything that you might find yourself at a later date having trouble fulfilling. Just wanted to throw that out there.
Hi, this is Matt. There's a section here for the Kamehameha schools and HAIS executive directors. It says the board shall invite the Chief Executive Officer of Kamehameha Schools and the Executive Director of the Hawaii Association of Independent Schools or their designees to serve as ex officio non-voting members of the board. There could be potentially just one more paragraph that says the board may, it doesn't necessarily have to be shall, may invite a representative of a local provider of early childhood education to serve as a ex officio non-voting member of the board, something like that. I mean, that's a possibility. I mean, it's an extra, it's not a voting seat. It's somebody else extra, but it's also can be a may, not a shall. So maybe the board, like our vacant seat, if it was filled with a representative of a local provider, then we wouldn't need to necessarily invite someone. But if the board didn't include that at all, we could. So.
Sorry, this is Steve Schatz. Can I ask a clarifying question? So I'm not sure if I understood Stephanie's suggestion. Was that one of the 9 board members, voting board members, could also serve in this function?
Yeah.
If that worked out, is that what you're saying, Stephanie?
Yeah, I'm saying instead of adding another voting member, just saying that, like, if I ran a preschool, I would count both as the childhood provider and the rep for the city and county, just to try to create flexibility in the membership.
Yeah, I mean, the simplest is to add something to the list of non-voting members, right? The simplest change statutorily, right, is just kind of add a "and" to the.
I think so. I would defer to the Attorney General folks. That may be the easiest, because I think adding a voting member changes the quorum and the composition, which, yeah, that's probably a little more difficult.
That's, yeah, and they just redid that, so that might call into question, more questions. Yeah.
Chair, I had a question relating to that, but I'm just wondering, I have a wondering. I'm wondering because we already have a non-voting member that attends, such as Kamehameha Schools, is that even necessary to change anything?
Oh, does the Kamehameha Schools representative, is that counted as a representative of local providers?
They are the
Is that-
largest private provider of in the state with 32 preschools, I think, and they attend this meeting. So I'm wondering if that can count as a local provider of early childhood education, because they already attend every meeting. We have Napua, I believe Napua is still here, representing Kamehameha Schools.
Aloha. Yep. I would say yes, and it would be amazing to have an additional private pre-K represented here, because although we are a pre-K provider, part of my kuleana expands beyond our own private pre-K. And so some of the suggestions that I may make may not necessarily come from the private pre-K lens. It may be more of a systemic suggestion and or mana'o.
So you're saying even though we have a local provider on the board as a non-voting member, such as you, that it still would be beneficial to have a non-Kamehameha, community.
Yes, a community-based pre-K represent. Yeah, mahalo.
Ako that. Mahalo. Okay, so you can erase my question, Chair. I'm done with my wondering.
Well, these are really good. I really appreciate the thought that people are putting into this. I'm not going to ask us to make a decision today. What I've heard today is that there were a couple of suggestions made. One was that the board may invite a representative of local early childhood providers that could be added to. Well, it was clear that I haven't heard anything that would, well, it was clear that we should put it in statute. We should make that clear. And so a couple of suggestions. One was to somehow designate a voting member to fulfill that. Another was to say the board may invite a representative of local early childhood providers, because that gives a little flexibility. Saying may, because if, as currently is the case, we have someone on the board who is from a community-based program, then that person, we don't have to invite someone. So that's those are two different approaches, and we'll keep thinking about it. And next meeting, we should make a decision. In the meantime, that the bill as it stands is going to go forward. I will ask now for any other questions first from the board, and then open it to public comment. So any other questions or comments from the board? Any questions or comments from the public?
I have one, Elaine. I just wanted to make sure. This is
Yes.
Kaina Bonacorsi, Maui County Early Childhood. I just wanted to make sure because I might have missed the flow of the conversation. So this conversation is to add a representation for a local provider, whether it be family childcare or a community-based preschool or a private provider, and not to fill the seat or discussion about the early Head Start and Head Start. Or was it that this discussion was that a local provider could meet that Head Start requirement? I think I got myself confused in listening.
It is confusing.
Okay, thank you.
So what we approved, the bill that was, the edited bill that is going forward includes, and the main goal of the bill is to comply with the Head Start Act.
Correct.
Okay, so it's the Head Start Collaboration Office Director and a representative on Head Start. And in the Head Start Act, there is the language that there should be someone, a representative of local providers of early childhood education and development services. So right now, it's not named in the statute. In actuality, we have someone on the voting board who fills this, but it is not named in the statute, so it's kind of by luck. And the governor's, because the governor is the one who picked and appointed the voting board members. So right now, the discussion is leaning towards put it in statute, but what do we want for this local representative, a representative of local providers? Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you. And then to Kawhi's point, having it in statute is your safety net, because moving forward beyond this makeup, he may not appoint somebody that fulfills it without it being specifically named.
Yes.
Okay, thank you for clarifying.
Thank you for asking. Any other questions or comments from the public? Okay. We will continue this discussion next month. Okay. Okay, unfinished business, the proposed salary adjustment for the EOEL Executive Director. So Steve Schatz is going to handle this.
Thanks. So in your packet, you'll see a memo that I wrote. I don't know if you can put it up on the screen, but basically we had a discussion at the last meeting about salary adjustment for YUCO, and acknowledging that the board hasn't done a formal evaluation. So the salary adjustment wouldn't be performance-based per se, would be instead to keep up with cost of living and the economy and commensurate salaries, both within the public and private sector. I think there was generally concurrence among board members that a salary adjustment made sense, and our suggestion at the time was to adjust the salary in a way that was aligned with HGEA's Unit 6, which is the administrators within the Department of Education, principals, vice principals, and other educational officers. And so we had that discussion, but we ran out of time. In the interim, we met as a finance committee and have an adjustment to the suggested action, which would be not only to make an adjustment to the salary going forward, but also do a retroactive salary adjustment to July 1, 2023. So the number for that adjustment isn't in there because we're not actually like 100% sure what it would be. We could do the math, but we want to make sure we get it right. But the basic math of it would be an adjustment of the salary to that $141,145, and then in addition, a retroactive salary adjustment for July 1, 2023 through the present moment. So maybe I'll open it up for clarifying questions before dialogue on the merits of the suggestion.
This is Stephanie. I have a more of a technical after implementation question. I know we passed our budget recommendation several meetings ago and just wanted to double check again because I think we're talking about a larger window of retroactive pay, that the budget can accommodate this.
It can.
Okay.
Thanks for asking that. Yeah.
Any other questions?
So just to confirm, Steve, did you say that you folks are still working on the evaluation?
No, we as the finance committee are not doing the evaluation per se. We were just sort of acknowledging that this salary adjustment is not based on performance. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and I think we discussed at the last meeting that we want to do two things. One is do a salary adjustment just regardless. And then we suggested that we as a board take on, create a process for evaluating our director and have that process for evaluating our director. Well, I mean, consider whether the process for the evaluation of the director is or is not tied to any salary adjustments.
Yeah, and currently, one of the other things we are discussing today are the current, this coming year is supposed to cover from July to June. The criteria that governance worked on as far as the criteria for evaluation for this year. Last year, because it was a transition year for the board, they were kind of in limbo because statute had changed, but no new board members had been appointed. So it was, none of us new board members had enough experience to provide any kind of feedback, useful feedback for the executive director. So that's why we're doing what we're doing.
So Elaine, I won't call for a vote or anything as a non-voting member. So I'll whenever you're ready to take the baton from me, go ahead and do it.
All right. And I think, and we're gonna vote on this, but I'm gonna ask you if you want to just to make it clean, if you just want to step outside.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Sure.
thank you.
Steve, this is Joni. I have a question. So her current annual salary is 125,000, and the proposal is to increase it to 141, 145.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the retro would be based on the 141, 145.
Sort it's a little more complicated than that because they're in the interim, the HGA got raises, but those raises happened at various points in the last, let's call it year and a half, like July 1 and then maybe January 1. So that's why the math gets a little complicated. It won't be retro to 141 from July 1, 2023, because that wouldn't be aligned with the incremental raises that the HGA got along the way. Does that make sense? So only as of, in other words, if Yuko had stayed as an HGA Unit 6 member, by July 1, 2024, she would have been at 141. But that doesn't, but if we gave her retro to at 141 from 2023, we would actually be giving her a salary adjustment higher than the HGA Unit 6 got. So we got to go back and make it as if it happened along the way. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. But then that position is not an HGA position.
Correct. We just use that as a sort of commensurate responsibility, leadership position.
That
That's all.
makes sense.
And going forward, we can quit doing that if we think that makes sense, right?
Okay, so we're at 4 o'clock. I thought we'd be, how by now? You guys had good questions. Are we ready to vote?
Can I ask a question too?
Sure, Dana.
When was Yuko's, when did she start in the role?
May of 2022.
Okay, thank you.
And May of 2022, right, Matt?
Yes, 2022, yes.
Yeah, and she has not received any compensation adjustments at all since that time.
Thank you.
Any other questions? I'm going to we're going to vote on, well, we need a motion first. To accept the Finance Committee's recommendation for salary adjustment.
I can make a motion to approve the Finance Committee's recommendation for a salary adjustment for the Director of EOEL.
This is Kauki, and I will second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any other discussion? Okay, I'm going to go down the road. Alana.
Aye.
Kaui.
Aye.
Suma.
Aye.
Lindsay. Aye. Joni.
Aye.
And Stephanie.
Aye.
Okay, so we got that done, but we are out of time.
Elaine, can I say one thing before we close?
Yeah. Yes.
I just want to say that even though we're purposely being neutral on whether, that this is not performance based, I don't want anyone in the public to misunderstand at least my personal perspective on Yuko, and from the University of Hawaii perspective and from Hawaii P20 perspective. She's been a great partner and we're happy to see the progress.
Thank you, Steve. So that motion has passed. We are out of time, so we have to do the vice chair election next meeting and the evaluation criteria, but you already have these items in your packet, so hopefully we can put that at the front of the agenda next time. And thank you very much for the rich discussion and the good questions. And see you.
Elaine, if board members are willing to stay on, could we run over or do we want to end now?
I don't know.
Proceed.
I think this is a procedural question of the AG for the time, the time posted for the public meeting, it ended at 4 o'clock.
Okay.
So, but I don't know. It's a great question.
Anybody have an
Still on?
Yeah, I'm still here. That is a great question. I don't actually know. That's a new one on me. I've seen meetings go over before, but I've never made note of whether the meeting had an end time or not when it was posted. So I don't know. Give me a brief second. Give me 30 seconds.
Okay. While he's looking it up.
Well, it sounds like some folks do need to head out.
Oh, okay. Okay, we'll have to end the meeting. Thank you for looking it up for next time.
Okay, appreciate it.
Okay, so I will see you guys next month. All right, mahalo.
Thanks, Elaine.
Aloha.
Thanks, everyone.